Hello, please view timestamps in the video descriptions, thank you, and let's get started. Warren Buffett stocks ranked, the Berkshire Hathaway portfolio. The Berkshire Hathaway portfolio, like so many others, has been through quite the roller coaster ride in 2020. It also has gone through a staggering number of changes. Buffett trimmed or cut 21 stocks from the portfolio during the first quarter, and another 18 in Q2. He owned several airlines at the start of the year, now he holds none. Banks were aces among Buffett's stocks to begin 2020, Berkshire spent the first half of the year ditching them. Some of Warren Buffett's stocks have been around for a lifetime. American Express has been a part of the Berkshire Hathaway, BRK.B, equity portfolio since the 1960s. The Oracle of Omaha has carried Coca-Cola since 1987. But if you're looking for the real engines behind Berkshire Hathaway's investment arm, you'll want to look at its more recent pickups. Stocks like Apple, Amazon.com, and even lesser-known firms such as Snowflake and StoneCo. The Berkshire Hathaway portfolio is a diverse set of blue chips and, increasingly, lesser-known growth bets. Here's a look at every stock picked by Warren Buffett and his lieutenants. So, what has Uncle Warren been up to lately? A lot, yet again. You can check out the full list of Warren Buffett's buys and sells for the third quarter here, but two primary trends stand out. For one, Buffett isn't done trimming, especially as it pertains to banks. And yet, the list of Warren Buffett stocks only got longer in Q3, as he entered 6 new positions during the quarter, several of them larger than at least half of his existing stakes. That's according to its most recent 13F regulatory filing, submitted to the Securities and Exchange Commission on November 16. If you want to know which stocks legendary investor Warren Buffett feels are worth his time and attention, look no further than the Berkshire Hathaway equity portfolio. Just remember, a few of these Buffett stocks were actually picked by portfolio managers Todd Combs and Ted Weschler, who many believe are the top candidates to succeed Buffett whenever he decides to step down. Read on as we examine each and every holding to give investors a better understanding of the entire Berkshire Hathaway portfolio. United Parcel Service. Shares held, 59,400. Holding value, $9,898,000. Percent of portfolio, 0.004%. United Parcel Service, at $168.44, might be the smallest position among Warren Buffett's stocks. But that doesn't mean it can't still be useful. The world's biggest package delivery company survived yet another round of culling during the third quarter. But perhaps that's because Uncle Warren doesn't even notice it anymore. Buffett initiated his position in United Parcel Service stock during Q1 2006, purchasing 1.43 million shares worth about $113.5 million at the time. That comes to an average price per share of $79.38. But UPS never grew to be a major part of Berkshire Hathaway's portfolio, and Buffett has pared the position over the years to where it wouldn't be a surprise if he exited the stake at any time. Indeed, UPS remains the most meager of Buffett stocks. At fewer than 60,000 shares, this is a rump position, leftovers, an odd lot. Buffett has been characteristically quiet about the UPS holding. There's no mention of United Parcel Service in CNBC's indispensable Warren Buffett archive. But it might be because of its long-term underperformance. Since March 31, 2006, UPS shares have delivered a total return, price plus dividends, of 218%, about 62 percentage points worse than the S&P 500 index's total return in that same time frame. However, UPS has been a fruitful position in 2020, jumping 44% year-to-date to smoke the broader market's 12% advance. SPDR, S&P 500 Trust ETF. Shares held, 39,400. Holding value, $13,195,000. Percent of portfolio, 0.01%. For years, Warren Buffett has told investors to keep it simple, buy an S&P 500 index fund, and also keep a little something in treasuries to help you sleep well in down markets. It's fantastic advice. It just seemed a little hypocritical coming from one of the market's most celebrated stock pickers. But Buffett finally took his own medicine in 2019's final innings, buying not one but 2 S&P 500 tracking exchange-traded funds, ETFs. The first of those is America's first ETF, the SPDR S&P 500 Trust ETF, at $362.57. The SPY tracks the 500 components of the S&P 500 index. It does so for a song, too, costing just 0.0945% annually, which comes to just $9.45 annually on a $10,000 investment. While many use it as a buy and hold investment, its high volume makes it a popular tool for traders, too. While we're happy Buffett put his money where his mouth is, the position still is a little strange for a man who's actively trying to beat the index. After all, an ETF merely tracks an index, and will actually underperform slightly once costs are included. But it's possible that Buffett really just wanted to drive his long-standing point home. Vanguard S&P 500 ETF. Shares held, 43,000. Holding value, $13,229,000. Percent of portfolio, 0.01%. The other S&P 500 tracker Buffett bought in Q4 2019 was the Vanguard S&P 500 ETF, at $333, which essentially provides the same exposure as the SPY, but it does so at a cheaper price. Both funds track the S&P 500's components. Both funds are extremely liquid. The VOO just has a lighter fee, typical of Vanguard ETFs, at 0.03% annually, versus the SPY's 0.0945%. If size is any indication, Berkshire's investments in the two tracking funds are largely symbolic. Each stake represents roughly 1/100% of Berkshire Hathaway's equity holdings. Mondelez. Shares held, 578,000. Holding value, $33,206,000. Percent of portfolio, 0.01%. Another meager position that survived another quarter is Mondelez, at $58.68, whose brands include Oreo cookies, Cadbury chocolate, Hall's cough drops, Trident gum and Triscuit crackers. In 2007, Buffett invested in what was then known as Kraft Foods. The packaged food company changed its name to Mondelez in 2012 after spinning off its North American grocery business, which was called Kraft Foods Group and traded under the ticker KRFT. Kraft Foods Group later merged with H.J. Heinz, in a 2015 deal backed by Buffett, to form Kraft Heinz. A couple years later, in 2017, Buffett shot down speculation that Kraft Heinz would buy the global snacks giant. Nothing to see here, folks. Berkshire Hathaway maintains a significant stake in KHC, more on that in a bit. MDLZ, not so much. Berkshire isn't even among Mondelez's top 100 shareholders, at just 0.04% of MDLZ shares outstanding, according to data from S&P Global Market Intelligence. And Mondelez accounts for just 1/100% of the total value of BRK.B's equity portfolio. The tiny position did hold up well during the bear market, as investors added some consumer staple stocks for defense. But MDLZ has put up more modest returns since stocks got back into gear. Mondelez has gained about 7% this year, which puts it about 5 percentage points behind the S&P 500. Liberty Latin America. Shares held, Class A Class C, 2,630,792 1,430,197. Holding value, Class A Class C, $21,704,000 $11,642,000. Percent of portfolio, total, 0.02%. Berkshire has made several de facto bets on legendary pay TV mogul John Malone. Liberty Latin America Class A, at $11.70, and Liberty Latin America Class C, at $11.72. Shares are the smallest of those. Liberty Latin America provides cable, broadband, telephone and wireless services in Chile, Puerto Rico, the Caribbean and other parts of Latin America. Liberty Global, the multinational telecommunications company in which Berkshire also holds a stake, issued tracking stock of its Latin American operations in 2015. Then spun off those operations entirely in 2018. The initial appeal to Buffett and his portfolio managers is plain to understand: game knows game. Malone, a pioneer in the telecom industry and a multi-billionaire himself, has created outsized value for shareholders over his long career. And as you'll see, Berkshire has several other investments in Malone-backed enterprises and recently pared back most of them. However, Buffett continues to tinker with his position. During the third quarter, he added roughly 4%, 66,567 shares, to his Class C shares, but trimmed his Class A position by about 5%, 160,478 shares. Procter & Gamble. Shares held, 315,400. Holding value, $43,837,000. Percent of portfolio, 0.02%. Procter & Gamble, at $142.43, is among several Dow stocks that Warren Buffett holds. But like UPS, it has fallen by the wayside as a Berkshire Hathaway investment. Buffett came to own P&G, maker of Tide detergent, Crest toothpaste and Pampers diapers, via the holding company's 2005 acquisition of razor maker Gillette. At the time, Buffett, a major Gillette shareholder, called the tie-up a dream deal. Procter & Gamble became one of BRK.B's biggest equity positions. The dream didn't last long. The Great Recession eroded the pricing power of old-line consumer staples companies such as P&G. The company embarked on a plan to shed 100 underperforming brands. The Duracell battery business happened to be on the list, and Berkshire bought it in 2014 in exchange for PG stock. 2 years later, Buffett pared what was left of the P&G stake by 99%. He hasn't added to the position since. While this Buffett stock is almost phased out, Berkshire was smart not to eliminate it yet. Penn was one of Buffett's best holdings of the bear market, providing much-needed ballast, and it's slightly beating the market with nearly 14% gains in 2020.